Hi Hugo. Today is the 23rd of February 2025. So what's going on at the moment? So yesterday we had a really nice phone call. We did our thing, which is typically playing Splatoon 3, and we played Minecraft, and we went on the server, and we went exploring to new places, which was fun. Recently you passed your exam to go to the school that you wanted to in Soroka, which was amazing, and you worked so hard for that. And yeah, I'm really happy that you made it. I'm proud of you. I know even when we were in Japan last year on our last day together, having a meal, you had to go home and study for your test or tests. And that was in August. That's 4 or 5 months. On our last day, you had to go. So you've really been working on it for a long time. And yeah, it's just a testament for Gambare that you did just so well. So yeah, really good job. Nowadays, you are nearly going to graduate from your school in Sakata near your house. You have got, was it 2 or 3 weeks, 18th of March, you said, until you're going to be graduate. So that's exciting. I wish I could come, but at this time it's hard to find so much extra money. Things are very expensive right now, but I wish I was able to come. What else is going on? So I've been doing some dieting, so I've lost some weight, which is cool. I think I've lost 6 kilograms in the last 6 weeks, and I'm also doing a half marathon in Sheffield again this year. I did it last year. And yeah, that's about it really. I thought I'd start a new book for you. I don't think I finished the last one, but I think because you're getting older now, it's probably better to start reading some material which is more has got more meaning, and things that you might be interested in. And so, with that in mind, today I'm going to start a book here. This book's called The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and it's based on the powerful true story of Leil Sokolov. So Auschwitz was a prison camp in Poland in the Second World War, and it was where the Germans took all the Jews. And sadly, a lot of Jews lost their lives in these prison camps, and there was a lot of horrible things that happened. And this story is about the tattooist of Auschwitz. So this is one of the Jews who gets a job as a tattooist. A tattooist is someone who draws or paints or draws on people's skin to make tattoos. So the Yakuza have got lots of tattoos, but also, can be used for marking people in wars, and they will mark people's numbers. So yeah, I'm going to start reading this book. It's a big book and it's going to take me a while to finish, but I think it's a book that you will, if you listen to it, I think you'll read it yourself one day. I think you'll really like it. So I'm going to start on this today. Right, so I'm going to skip a lot, but I'm going to start to where we start now. I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, but if you do, then I hope you really enjoy it. I read this book and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good book. So this is to the memory of Leil Sokolov. Thank you for trusting me to tell your and Gita's story. So start with what's called a prologue. So this is kind of what you typically find at the start of books, a little bit like an introduction. Leil tries not to look up. He reaches out to take the piece of paper being handed to him. He must transfer the 4 digits onto the girl who holds it. So this is like the tattooist. So this is slightly into the story already. There is already a number there, but it has faded. He pushes the needle into her left arm, making a 4, trying to be gentle. Blood oozes, but the needle hasn't gone deep enough and he has to trace the number again. She doesn't flinch at the pain. Leil knows he's inflicting. They've been warned. Say nothing. Do nothing. He wipes away the blood and rubs green ink into the wound. Hurry up, Pepin whispers. Leil is taking too long. Tattooing the arms of men is one thing. Defiling the bodies of young girls is horrifying. Glancing up, Leil sees a man in a white coat slowly looking up the row of girls. Every now and then he stops to inspect the face and body of a terrified young woman. Eventually he reaches Lael. While Lael holds the girl's arm as gently as he can, the man takes her face in his hand and turns it roughly this way and that. Lael looks up into his frightened eyes. Her lips move in readiness to speak. Lael squeezes her arm tightly to stop her. She looks at him and mouths, "Shh," and he mouths, "Shh." The man in the white coat releases her face and walks away. I should say, Hugo, I bought this book for Anna for her birthday. Anna, your cousin, who's 11. So yeah, maybe she's read it too. And I also bought this book for Nikki too. Well done, he whispers as he sets about tattooing the remaining 3 digits, 562. When he has finished, he holds onto her arm for a moment longer than necessary, looking again into her eyes. He forces a small smile. She returns a smaller one. Her eyes, however, dance before him. Looking into them, his heart seems simultaneously to stop and begin beating for the first time. Pounding, almost threatening to burst out of his chest, he looks down at the ground and it sways beneath him. Another piece of paper is thrust at him. Hurry up, Lael, Peepin whispers urgently. When he looks up again, she is gone. And this moves on to the first chapter. I should say that Flynn's been at his dad's all weekend, so he might come home at any point. And if he does, then I'm probably going to have to stop. But I'll try to make sure that I record more often. Okay? So let's start with chapter 1. Chapter 1, April 1942. Lael rattles across the countryside, keeping his head up and himself to himself. The 24-year-old sees no point in getting to know the man beside him, who occasionally nods off against his shoulder. Lael doesn't push him away. He is just one among countless young men stuffed into wagons designed to transport livestock, having been given no idea where they were headed. Lael, dressed in his usual attire, a pressed suit, clean white shirt and tie, always dressed to impress. He tries to assess the dimensions of his confinement. The wagon is about 2.5 meters wide, but he can't see the end to gauge its length. He attempts to count the number of men on this journey with him, but with so many heads bobbing up and down, he eventually gives up. He doesn't know how many wagons there are. His back and legs ache. His face itches. The stubble reminds him that he hasn't bathed or shaved since he boarded 2 days ago. He is feeling less and less himself. When the men try to engage him in conversation, he responds with words of encouragement, trying to turn their fear into hope. "We stand in shit, but let us not drown in it." Abusive remarks are muttered at him for his appearance and manner. Some people, I guess, on that wagon, people are maybe a little bit angry and sad, and they don't know what they want to do because they don't know where they're going. Accusations of hailing from an upper class. "Now look where it's got you." He tries to shrug the words off and meet the glares with smiles. "Who am I trying to kid? I'm as scared as everyone else. A young man locks eyes with Lael and pushes through the scrum of bodies towards him. Some men shove him on his way through. "It's only your own space if you make it yours." "How can you be so calm?" the young man says. "They had rifles. The bastards pointed rifles at us and forced us into this cattle train." Lael smiles at him. Not what I was expecting either. "Where do you think we're going?" "It doesn't matter. Just remember, we are here to keep our families safe at home." "But what if?" "Don't what if. I don't know. You don't know. None of us knows. Let's just do as we're told." "Should we try and take them when we stop, since we outnumber them?" The young man's pale face is pinched with confused aggression. His balled up hands pox pathetically in front of him. "We have fists. They have rifles. Who do you think is going to win that fight?" The young man returns to silence. His shoulder is wedged into Lael's chest. Lael can smell oil and sweat in his hair. His hands drop and hang limply by his side. I'm Aaron, he says. Lael. Others around them tune in to their conversation, raising their heads towards the two men before lapsing back into silent reveries, sinking deep into their own thoughts. What they all share is fear and youth and their religion. Lael tries to keep his mind off theorizing about what might lie ahead. He has been told that he is being taken to work for the Germans, and that is what he is planning to do. He thinks of his family back home, safe. He has made the sacrifice. He has no regrets. He would make it again and again to keep his beloved family at home together. Every hour or so, it seems, people ask him similar questions. Wearying, Lael begins to answer. Wait and see. He is perplexed as to why the questions are directed to him. He has no special knowledge. Yes, he wears a suit and a tie, but that's the only visible difference between him and the next man. We're all in the same filthy boat. In the crowded wagon, they can't sit, let alone lie down. 2 buckets substitute for toilets. As they feel a fight breaks out as men try to get away from the stench. The buckets are knocked over, spilling their contents. Lael clings to his suitcase, hoping that with the money and clothes he has, he might be able to buy himself out from wherever they are headed, or at the very least buy himself into a safe job. Maybe there'll be work where I can use my languages. He feels lucky to have found his way to the side of the wagon. Small gaps in the slats provide him with glimpses of the passing countryside. Snatched breaths of fresh air keep the rising tide of nausea at bay. It might be springtime, but the days are filled with rain and heavy cloud. Occasionally they pass fields ablaze with spring flowers, and Lael smiles to himself. Flowers. He learned from a young age from his mother that women love them. When would be the next time he could give a girl flowers? He takes them in, their brilliant colours flashing before his eyes. Whole fields of poppies dancing in the breeze, a scarlet mass. He vows that in the next flowers he gives to someone, he will pick himself. It has never occurred to him that they grow wild in such large numbers. His mother had a few in her garden, but she never picked them and brought them inside. He starts a list in his head of things to do when I get home. Another fight breaks out, scuffling, yells. Lael can't see what is going on, but he feels the squirming and pushing of bodies. Then there is silence, and from the gloom the words, "You've killed him." Lucky bastard, someone mutters. Poor bastard. My life is too good to end in this stinkhole. There are many stops on the journey, some lasting minutes, some hours, always outside a town or village. Occasionally, Lael catches a glimpse of the station names as they speed through: Zwadon, Dzidzic, and a little later Dankovic, confirming they are in Poland. The unknown question: where will they stop? Lael spends most of the time on the journey lost in thoughts about his life in Bratislava. His job, his apartment, his friends, his female friends in particular. The train stops again. In pitch black, clouds block out the moon and stars completely. Does the dark portend their future? Things are as they are. What I can see, feel, hear, and smell right now. He sees only men like himself, young and on a journey into the unknown. He fears the grumbling of empty stomachs and the rasping of dry windpipes. He smells piss and shit and the odour of bodies too long unwashed. The men take advantage of not being thrown around to rest without the need to push and shove for a piece of turf. More than one head now rests on Lael. Loud noises come from a few wagons back, gradually creeping closer. The men there have had enough and are going to attempt an escape. The sound of men throwing themselves against the wooden sides of the wagon and the banging of what must be one of the ship buckets rouses everyone. Before long, every wagon erupts, attacked from within. Help us or get out of the way, a large man screams at Lael as he throws himself against the side. Don't waste your energy, Lael explains. If these walls were going to be breached, don't you think a cow would have done it by now? Several men stop their efforts, turning angrily towards him. They process his comment. The train lurches forward. Maybe those in charge have decided movement will stop the unrest. The wagon settles down. Lael closes his eyes. Lael had returned to his parents' home in Krompachi, Slovakia, following the news that the Jews in small towns were being rounded up and transported to work for the Germans. He knew Jews were no longer allowed to work and that their businesses had been confiscated. For nearly 4 weeks he helped around the house, fixing things with his father and brother, building new beds for his young nephews who had outgrown their cribs. His sister was the only family member earning an income as a seamstress. She had to travel to and from work in secret. Before dawn and after dark, her boss was prepared to take the risk for her best employee. One evening, she returned home with a poster her boss had been asked to put up in the shop window. It demanded that each Jewish family hand over a child aged 18 or older to work for the German government. The whispers, the rumours about what had been happening in other towns finally came to Krompachi. Right, that's enough for today. Okay, right, I'm going to finish now. I'll speak to you soon. All right, I'll try and finish this chapter later on. I love you lots. Bye.